Hello all, RPG Rider here. Hopefully I didn't just ruin my bike. I just gave it a bath. And I don't know, that spray sure was powerful, so I didn't want to get at the electronics. Hopefully I didn't do any damage there. I'll find out if steam and smoke starts coming out of it. Hopefully we'll be okay. Let's just see if this makes any difference. Maybe it's just all crusted up with something. Okay, well, we're gonna give this a shot and oh my. You know, it's too early to tell. No, maybe, I don't know. I don't know if it feels better. So I'm going to take it out on the highway and dry it for a second. Hurry. Go, go, go. No, no. No, no. Okay, I can do it now. So I'm going to take it out on the highway and dry it off. Maybe this did help. I don't know. Oh, we'll find out here in a second. You know, it might be a little better. Maybe I just had something gummed up in something. I don't know, maybe this is a little better. So anyway, we'll take it to get dried off here now. Get me dried off. And then when I go back, I'll get some chain oil on it. Well, maybe you should wash your bike every year or a couple of years. Maybe it does make a difference. Okay, so here I am on my CBR 600 RR. In a lot of wind. So what we're going to do now, I'm just going to take you to another spot out here. I know you won't be able to hear me very much, but bear with me. We'll actually go to a location that's okay. Riding a bike. I don't know if you guys can hear me, and I'd look pretty funny being in the race position here. So yeah, riding bike is a lot of fun. You should do it. You should go out and you should get your license. No, okay, here's a topic. What did I do to figure out how to ride? Well, it was complicated, really. Actually, it wasn't complicated. It was my significant other, my wife, went on a little holiday one time to visit her parents in the community she's from, and left me to do nothing. You know, well, I didn't want to go, basically. So I was stuck at home with nothing to do, and I remember buying literally about a video game. You know, something. It was StarCrafty. It was like StarCraft. It was Michael Ironside, Command and Conquer, or something like that. Michael Ironside did the voice effects for it. I think that's why I chose it, because I was such a huge Michael Ironside fan. You know, Scanners and Total Recall and all that. So I just love his acting. So I picked that up. Maybe I'll have to yell at you. I picked that up, and yeah, so that wasn't going to do me for the 2 weeks I was going to be alone. And so what I did is check out the yellow pages, and literally checking out the yellow pages to try to figure out what to do with my time. I turned on my high beams there because I'm on the highway and I just want to be a little more visible. And yeah, searched through the yellow pages and came up with one thing I saw was hot air ballooning. And literally the price was ridiculous. It was something like $350 for a half hour, you know, and you didn't even get to keep the balloon. You know, it was just ridiculous. So, you know, I went through and thinking, okay, if I'm going to blow some money here, I need to have something to show for it. You know, if it's not a fantastic experience, I'll remember for the rest of my life. At least I have to have something to show for it. So I found motorcycle training. You know, the Motorcycle Association, local whatever. And for, I think it was around $200 or maybe a little more, you know, they would have you for 3 days and teach you how to ride a motorcycle. And I'd periodically known people throughout my life who had a motorcycle, but didn't know anyone at the time. So, you know, there was no option for me to have someone to help me out and say, hey, can you take me out and teach me how to ride? It just, the option wasn't there. So I literally showed up, you know, and the instructor really, you know, started off nice, like, okay, here's how you sit on a motorcycle, this is a clutch. Like, it was literally starting with that. And then by the second day, you know, you were riding around or whatever, and by the third day, you know, you were whatever, right, getting ready to do well. So that was it. I went there and, you know, interested in Tron and the whole bit, but I had a pretty open mind as to what type of bike I'd get. So I tried the dirt bike there, and gee, it was just uncomfortable. I didn't feel it. It was too high up for me. You know, they all were, and I just wasn't into it. And they had a cruiser e-bike out there, and once again, it wasn't me. It just didn't feel good. And then they had this little CBR 125, this little tiny thing, but it still had a fairly aggressive seating position, you know, to show you at least what a sport bike would be like. And I got on that, and I found, it was love at first sit, really. It was swooped around the course, it was so maneuverable. I was addicted to it, actually, and I was found myself, you know, wanting to take the course again just so I could ride on a bike. And to make a long story short, you know, it was really trial by fire for me, figuring out how to ride. And, yeah, so I finally, after the course, I booked to get my license, and I was such a newbie, I actually failed my first driver's test when they took me out. I did everything perfectly, but there was one part of the, you know, you're in this small community and it goes right onto the highway. And I remember seeing a truck far in the distance, so I pulled out onto the highway. But it was a little 125, and that was the first time I'd felt it accelerate. And it didn't accelerate anywhere near what my car would. And I just could not get up to speed in time. So the truck, you know, after it seemed like a half hour, got up to me and had to slow for me because I just couldn't get the bike up to speed, you know. And I explained that to the instructor, I think, or alluded to it, and he was like, well, you got to know those things, you know. So that was it. I had, you know, but he told me, you know, I did perfectly on everything else, and it was really, I just have to, you know, realize that a 125 is not going to accelerate very quickly. So I went back and did it again, and it was just, yeah, just flying colors the second time. You know, I made sure the highway, you know, you couldn't see anything for a mile and a half before I got out this little 125. I think I even kicked my legs a bit as a joke. I didn't do that, just to get up to speed. But that was it. That's really how I got into this whole riding thing. And that was it. After I took that course and swooped around a little bit, I ended up, you can probably hear me. I probably couldn't hear any of the story up to this. After I swooped around a little bit, I went looking for a bike, and I didn't want, I wanted a bike, a 250, but I didn't want wiener bike, what I felt was a wiener bike. I wanted to look cool. I didn't care what was in the engine, really. I just wanted to look cool. So I found the Ninja 250 on the internet, and I was really sold on it, and I went there and I sat on it, and I found I looked a bit small when I was on it, and just didn't really like the look, but I was gonna buy it anyway, and I went ahead and I okay, I'm gonna buy this and see if you can get a loan and blah blah blah. I went through all of that, and then I was, just for a fluke, I was messing around on YouTube, and I saw a video of a Hyosung, some people say Hyosung, Hyosung GT250R. You should look that up. It was a dynamite looking bike. So it was a 250, but it was a sport bike, right? It had a really aggressive seating position. There was no holds bar. It was a sport bike. And I got on it. I rode around on it, and it passed my I look really cool test. And I did. I looked awesome on it. I can tell you right away. I looked fantastic. And that was it for me. I have no idea what I'm doing here. I'll go up here. I just didn't want to go on a dirt road, so I'm going to have to go up here and turn around somehow. Okay, hopefully... Oh yeah, this is perfect sport bike area here. Look at that. That's wiped out already. So that was it, really. I was, I ended up going to a neighboring city, and basically showed up with cash in hand and whatever, loan in hand, and said no, I want that one instead, and that was it. I got it, and which is kind of funny because I showed up, right? I showed up and having only 2.5 days of riding experience, and here I'm showing up in a city 2.5 hours away, and I'm getting on the bike, and I'm like, okay, see you guys, thanks for letting me buy it. And you could see the look on their faces. Even the salespeople were like, you could just see they didn't think I'd make it to whatever destination I was going to. You could see it. They were like, oh, you've ridden for 2.5 days, and now you're going to buy a GT 250R and drive 2.5 hours home? Oh, okay, well, thanks for the money, and be seeing you. Not, that type of thing, right? I actually looked quite concerned when I left, like, we just killed that guy. And they were wrong. I didn't die.